Well, my name is Francisco H. Gonzalez. I do have Mexican ethnicity in my background, but our family is strongly European, and they try to enforce that as much as they can.
So tell me how much Mexican stuff is in your background.
Maybe like the music, a little bit of...
I meant your father is a Mexican, right?
Right.
He was born in Mexico?
He was born in there. His parents were born in Mexico. Their parents, however, it's not even sure if they were or they weren't, because both of them died almost at a very young age.
So where did your father grow up?
He grew up in the state called Guanajuato,
okay.
I think. He was there for like maybe a few years. Then one day, his aunt came up to him and told him they were moving to Chicago, Illinois, for, you know, prosperity and all that stuff, because Mexico was just in a very horrible state at that time, economically. And when he came to Chicago, I mean, he just kind of slipped into English, and it just kicked in perfectly.
So you don't speak Spanish?
No, not one bit.
And I believe you've told me that that was sort of an explicit decision that your parents made about you're not learning Spanish.
I wouldn't say explicit, but like my dad encouraged me to learn English because he thought, you know, it's the most predominant language. I mean, I think he always saw with all the other immigrant groups, you know, their language never prevailed over English, so he thought it wasn't going to be the same with Spanish.
What do you think about that?
I actually think nowadays Spanish is getting pretty strong in America, and it is seeming to become a priority for a lot of Americans to learn how to speak it, because there seems to be an endless stream of immigrants who are coming to this nation, you know, to fulfill their dreams, essentially.
And so do you think that's a good thing?
To an extent.
I would bet that your life has been complicated by the anti-immigrant politics of the last couple of years.
Yes, very much so.
Do you mind telling us a little bit how?
Well, just, you know, they hear the name Francisco Gonzalez and they immediately think, you know, Beaner or something like that. They think, you know, I'm one of those Mexicans who's crawling over the barbed wire fence and stuff like that, running to America to just sell drugs or something. Like, that's their image, or at least what, you know, politicians and stuff like to feed into people's heads most of the time.
Are you aware that we basically let most of the illegal immigrants who are here, we let them in because we needed their work?
Yeah, I do believe that, especially under the Bush administration.
And so do you think it's fair for us to turn around now and kick them out and send them back to Mexico?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, but of course we let them in here. So it's a question of fairness.
That's kind of a double-edged sword now I think about it.
Okay.
You know.
Do you think as you grow up that you will become less and less Hispanic and more Americanized? I mean, is that how you see yourself in the future?
Actually, no. I mean, personally, my family has had a strong European background, and I've learned to embrace that a lot.
By European, you mean European?
As in Prussia.
Okay.
You know, the Black Eagle and all that wonderful stuff.
Is that your mother's side of the family?
Yes, it is. And if you see her, you'll see that she is very Caucasian appearing.
Okay. So we're about at our time limit here. Do you intend or do you think that your children, assuming you have them, do you intend to do Mexican things with them as part of your heritage?
I do what my mother would do, and that's exposed me to all different types of cultures, actually. Because that's how I think I've learned to find I mean, sometimes I used to go around thinking I was from another culture just because I loved it and admired it so much. But, you know, I'd want to do that for my kids so that they can, you know, see all the different ones like Japanese, Russian, Polish, you know.
So a multicultural world is a good thing, by
It's a very good thing. Matter of fact, I'm a very anti-nationalist. I believe that's the most horrible ill that has ever been put on our world, essentially.